Well, I am very happy to be here. I am Gabriela Cueva. I am the area manager for Latin America of Instituto Marangoni. On behalf of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, I warmly welcome you to this webinar, part of the 5th edition of Encuentro Creativo, a project by the Italian Chamber supported by the Embassy of Italy in Mexico. The goal of Encuentro Creativo is to promote Italian academic opportunities in Mexico, connecting students and professionals with Italian educational institutions and training programs. It is an honor to give you a warm welcome to this webinar titled Written and Directed by. Today, we are privileged to have Francesco Fioretto, Nicola Favaron, and Jacopo Cozzi representing Marangoni. Marangoni is one of the most international renowned educational institutions in fashion and design. We have campuses in key cities such as Milan, Florence, Paris, London, Dubai, and Miami. It offers specialized programs in fashion design, styling, business, communication, and creative direction. It was founded in 1035. Marangoni stands out for its long history and close relationship with leading fashion houses, providing students with an education that combines academic excellence, creative vision, and direct connection with the global industry. Now, please, our speakers, Francesco, Jacopo, and Nicola, I will read their bio for you to know them. Francesco, it's our research and education director of Istituto Marangoni. Francesco studied communication design at the Politecnico di Milano. Since 2010, he has been working as a freelance art and creative director for fashion and luxury brands in Paris, redesigning their identity and expanding their communication strategies into digital spaces. Since 2016, he has served as the creative director of Q magazine, an independent, I hope I said it correctly, an independent print publication focused on fashion and art. He specializes in narrative photography for still life and fashion editorials, as well as in film and interactive movies. Francesco joined Istituto Marangoni Paris in 2014 as a lecturer in graphic design and art direction. Later, becoming head of the fashion styling and creative direction program. In 2020, he was appointed director of education at Instituto Marangoni Shanghai and relocated to China. Since July 2023, he has held the position of director of research and education at Instituto Marangoni, headquarters in Milano. Now, for Jacopo Cozzi, Jacopo was born in Siena, but earned his master's degree at the Sorbonne Nouvelle University in Paris, before beginning his doctoral studies in the humanities at Paris Diderot University. Meanwhile, he worked as a screenwriter for several French production companies in 2015. He joined in the public relations and communication department of the publishing house Editions d'Olivier. Later, he began working as an assistant professor of Anglo-American culture and British history at Paris Diderot University, while also working as a copywriter for brands and collaborating with magazines and art galleries. In 2016, he was awarded a Fulbright scholarship and spent a full academic year teaching at Wake Forest University in the United States. In 2018, Jacopo joined the academic staff of Instituto Marangoni Paris. A year later, he was appointed program leader for fashion styling and creative direction. Now, last but not least, Nicola Favaron. He head of the undergraduate and postgraduate programs in fashion styling at Istituto Marangoni, London. Nicola has worked as a photographer, creative consultant, content creator, and lecturer for more than 15 years. After earning a degree in law and receiving a comprehensive humanistic education, he graduated from the Istituto Italiano di Fotografia in Milano and built a career in the field, working primarily in advertising, editorial portraiture, and consulting for international magazine and brands. In 2009, he moved to London, where he currently lives and works. In recent years, he had focused on international and consultancy roles, teaching and serving as a level leader at the University of Westminster, where he earned a bachelor's degree in fashion marketing and promotion with honors. He has also managed workshops and collaborated with other higher education institutions and organizations within the UK. Nicola has been working at Istituto Marangoni, London since 2011, combining his professional practice with academic training and a growing passion for shared knowledge, with the goal of educating conscious professionals and future leaders in the field. He is currently the program leader for the Bachelor in Fashion Styling and Creative Direction and the Master degree in Fashion Styling, Creative Direction, and Digital Content. So for me, this is it. I leave the floor to the experts. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, Gabriela.
Thank you for the introduction. Damiano, you want to say something before we start, maybe?
Yes, thanks for the introduction, Gabriela, and hello everyone, and thanks for coming to today's session. Actually, my name is Damiano Antonazzi, and I'm International Admission Manager at Istituto Marangoni. Today, as perfectly explained by Gabriela, we have three major experts and exponents of the fashion communication and image area, not only at Istituto Marangoni, but really expert in this area. And today they are going to roll out a session that is going to explore the creative and conceptual process which is behind producing moving images in the fashion industry of today. So by their long teaching and professional experience, they are going to present also a variety of, I would say, creative frameworks and visual languages that goes from story-driven fashion films to more experimental video installations. And the focus of the session is going to be the dialogue, I would say, between from one side aesthetics and from the other technology that goes through storytelling. So how these three elements are going to be combined. And also they are going to make you understand a little bit how the new digital and technological tools, and of course AI is involved in that, are influencing the creative direction and image production, especially relating to fashion. So this is going to be an interesting session. You're going to have the time and the possibility to also ask questions. So as announced before, you can write them, and we are going to read them through at the end of the presentation itself. So without further ado, I would leave the word to Francesco.
Yes, muchas gracias y buen día. Thank you so much. I will start immediately the presentation because we have had a lot of introduction. It's always very nice to hear your life told in details. But yeah, let's go through. We are three today, and I'm very happy to have to be together with Nicola and Jacopo, and we decided to do a sort of like mini panel, because we bring a different experience together joining in Istituto Marangoni. We decided to focus in our wide program of fashion communication image in what is for us probably the most excellent part, and in which we are reaching very good outcome. You will see a lot of student works. But let's get into the film and production in fashion. Is a specific type of film making and image making, which is very different from cinema, but also very different from commercial advertisement. Today we're going to talk about, you've already read the abstract, basically in 4 key words. It's going to be about motion. It's going to be about the specific language of fashion image. We're going to explore some aspect and also see outcomes through AI, the AI creative landscape. And we're going to conclude about a very important matter in which the three of us are really engaged to defend and support, which is the authorship. So AI is a good opportunity, but also challenge authorship today. First of all, the fashion image and motion pictures are a matter of time. It's a temporal matter. Why would you say that? Because it's actually is a process where we actually ask time to our audience to be seen. So we decide how much time we're going to ask. We deliver emotion, we deliver story, but it's in the end all a matter of time. And this is very important for us as an educator, but in general, when we design to produce a certain type of formats and a certain type of media, the duration and the time management of production is essential. The time is composed, if the image and the screen is in the middle, is composed by two aspects. One is behind the scene, which is actually all the time related to production, the act of shooting, and the time of post-production. But also writing a story, writing a film, delivering a message, creating an immersive experience through a screen or through an installation is basically a dialogue of writing between two aspects of our brain. One is more logic and the second one is more emotional. And today I want to introduce a very interesting French philosopher, Paul Ricoeur, which is the master of narrative writings, that design what is called the elliptical model. The elliptical model is actually, if we think that the circle is a balance between two opposite messages, like reading and feelings, logos and pathos, or emotion and logic, the real artist is the one that is able to stretch the circle in an elliptical model in which we try to push as much as possible the sophistication of the message, and on the other side, we try to enhance and engage emotion. The other thing that we need to do so is the point of view of the viewer. The point of view of the viewer is the time where we stream the video, the film, the image, the experience. And this is another very interesting aspect, where the time is not mechanical, is purely emotional. And another French philosopher delivered us in the beginning of the 20th century the word durée, which means the perception of the time. If we see a 30-second video which is completely compelling, as well as we watch a 2-hour movie, we have sometimes the feeling that the real time is different from the time perception. And the art of the movie maker is to make the time, the experience compelling, engaging, to create a sort of like thankful feeling in our audience. When we watch something amazing, we are thankful to the author and to who deliver and publish it. The other things is that fashion film are non-linear in terms of narratives. They are not beginning of the story, body of the story, and conclusion. And in the exploration we're going to see, we're going to explore how the art of editing can completely rewrite the story, not just in normal film writing, but in general, we can completely recreate a new audiovisual experience. The fact that fashion film and fashion communication is non-linear and is very artistic is a specific case of the fashion industry. We're going to watch now two commercial films from two brands, and two only of these 6 that I am just previewing now, just to show you that this is a very different type of commercial communication compared to all other industry. Generally, advertising and filmmaking is positive, happy, and also very, very commercially bright, let me say. In fashion, the language is different. It's more sometimes dramatic, is also ironic somehow, but the most important thing is to create an artwork, an authorial artwork. We're going to watch now a film from Glenn Luchford from Gucci 2017. and action! So this was an official campaign. So now we move to Alexander McQueen accessory campaign 2022.
Dial 330. Confirm. What's she doing? Please exit the area at your convenience. Please exit the area at your convenience.
If you're in need of help, we are here to assist you.
Shut this down. Dial 330.
So I stopped because we need to. It's a very long film. It's actually also a very 5 minutes, 6 minutes short film. We see somebody crying in front of the camera for a commercial campaign is not something very common in general communication. So these two benchmarks are just an inspiration, and of course, it's just to give you an overview of what type of fashion film and language we are talking about. Now I'm going to give the word to Jacopo, from program leader from Paris, and which we're going to do a deep dive into production style.
Thank you, Francesco. Hello, everyone. So yes, so I'm gonna start with what Francesco just said. It's not common to see someone crying in a commercial, but in the fashion movies that can happen. Yes, because as we're gonna see in some of the examples that will come, the thing is that you see there is when you have a product, when you have and working also for fashion, luxury, etc. Think about it. You will never see Hermes campaign, Prada campaign pointing on the physical quality of the product. The product is there. You're gonna promote something that is out for a campaign for a season. But the point will never to say, for instance, that this Prada bag is made with the best leather and is very spacious. And look, there is a pocket for your iPhone. No, this is the quality of the product is taken for granted. And what you have to work on is something that is not tangible and is exactly what we try to do, for instance, with some students in a recent collaboration with Coperni. That is actually, there you go. Okay, look at this one, for instance. Okay, and now, for instance, that you look at that, in order to understand the sense and the purpose of a video like that, you see, what is the production way to do something like that? Very simply, we work with brands as well, production house.
Amigo, bueno, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días.
If you can
Sorry,
mute
can you switch?
yourself, please, so that we can go ahead with the presentation. Thank
Okay, so I was saying that we receive the bags. We receive the bags. You're gonna see another example for Schiaparelli. What the students will work with in this production dossier, with mood board, storyboard, the references, is actually a way to celebrate and interpret this intangible value that go beyond the physical quality of the bag. I'm gonna give you like a super quick example. Imagine that you have a Coperni bag, an Hermes bag, and I'm gonna give it to you. And then on the other hand, I have another bag that is molecularly, atomically identical, but it's not the original one, it's counterfeited. What are you gonna choose? It's a no-brainer, you're gonna choose the real one, even if it's physically identical. So actually what you're choosing is something that is not tangible. And this is what is called also the brand image, the brand heritage. That is the main point and the main starting point of what you need to work on when you're doing these kind of fashion movies, as you can see in these examples. And this is something that you can do, for instance, also for other editorial things and purposes. For instance, in this case, celebrating something that is not even theirs, that is not even a product, but is a interpretation of Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is this David Lynch, very famous TV series, where there is this magical place that you open with curtains and you enter into a sort of consciousness, fluid consciousness, Francesco was saying, mental state. Here, the students, with the aid of green screen and 3D, start to interpret at their own this kind of metaphorical space.
Bonjour, Paris.
We have some hairy news.
Paris has been evacuated as a Chihuahua invasion has grown to an unprecedented state.
Macron has called Code K9.
Bonjour.
Okay. So even this technology is gonna serve also for that. This is another movie. This is entirely made with 3D. And the bag is scanned and then reworked with AI. But again, also what you're gonna see here, work of a single student, is a sort of a celebration of this identity of Coperni that is in technology, but also technology that is not high technology, something vintage technology. There you go. And of course, in order to prepare that, as you can see, the main point and main issue is always something that goes beyond the physical quality, again, of the product itself. Even in the next example, is one for Schiaparelli. It goes in the same direction. We can go on with the video. Yes, thank you. So in that case, as you can see again, if you know Schiaparelli as a brand is a little bit about the interpretation of all the codes that make Schiaparelli the brand that it is, the locker, the lobster of Elsa Schiaparelli. And it was also a project that put together the students first as a team, coming up with a concept and idea developed by the whole team, turned by the whole team, and then later interpreted by an individual editing of students in an individual way. In that case, it was Nina. Speaking still about the commission of new technology for filming, now not in a commercial way, but for editorial purposes. Here we have another project made with a magazine curated by one of the most historically important fashion magazine in the world. And even here, the main issue, the main challenge was about to celebrate an heritage made of covers and images, but in a new space. In this case, a digital one.
Out of embodied experience.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much. And now I leave the word to my colleague Nicola.
Yeah, Jacopo, can I jump in for a second?
Yes, of course.
I mean, I'm amazed by the quality of the videos that we saw. And they are like very different from each other, editorial, commercial, advertorial. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the most difficult thing is actually to balance the artistic storytelling with the objectives of a fashion brand. That can be like their values or commercial objectives. How do students or professionals do that? This balance between the commercial, for example, objective and the artistic storytelling.
True, and I will add also another layer of difficulty, which is not just to match the single artistic vision of a movie maker, video maker, director that written and direct a movie. So this balance with this brand heritage, which is something that everyone need to do, but also balance with another team of people that need to sit at a table and find an agreement. Now, the best point, the best way to solve this is really to accept the fact that, especially in this kind of project, also after school, people will work with other people. So there is a point to made about making your arguments clear, and especially in this case, we say written, but to communicate with each other with images. Just starting with mood board that speak better visually than with words. And this is something that I also experience talking with these brands. Do not let words take the place, but also present a visual mood board, storyboard, the one that we saw before, because sometimes they connect much better to the heritage and to the client and to the editorial part than a written or spoken pitch. So yes, again, find an agreement with that, and in all the Marangoni school communication image, this is something that is that we started doing the first year, like being a visual communicator before being also a oral communicator.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you very much. Nice question.
So, Nicola, up to you now.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here with my colleague and have the chance to showcase things that either we usually see internally or within our industry partners. I do believe that at Istituto Marangoni, due to super big multicultural variety, we do create outcomes that are not only industry ready, but quite at a high level, and it's nice to see them there. I'm going to put a bit, coming from London, sort of a cap with technology, because I think we live probably the most exciting moment for image makers in general in the last 30 years, because we can, starting from a 2D single traditional image, that can be a photograph, transform it into a video, move it into a 3D, making it living into a 3D environment, printing it physically as a 3D printed object. And we can do the same with the video. So we got sources of narrative and storytelling that are absolutely new. And to add something to what Jacopo said in reply to your question, Damiano, is also, it is always sort of a compromise. I mean, there is a moment in which, into a career in which the brand calls you because of your own signature. Of course, with students is reverse engineered, and there is this sort of fire that we have when we are very young, that we expect people to call us because they love what we do, which is very idealistic and only partially true, no? But in reality, it's not. I stepped into it because I was having this conversation this morning with a student of mine. No, it was like, we're working with a brand. It was like, I don't really like this brand, and it's not my style, my thing. There, of course, there's a massive work of preparation behind every single work that we produce. There's if in real life it's 2 weeks, our simulation might be 2 months, but there's hundreds of pages of research books. There's very accurate mood boards, very accurate storyboards. These not aim to be obsessive, but we do believe that the more prepared you are the moment in which you go on set, the more chances you have to change things if you realize that they do not work. And the idea is to step on set and direct something. You know, it's about professional fun when you do creative careers, no? And there is an aspect of compromising your own aesthetic and vision with what a client requests, in which the creative act is not really in the final outcome, because of course might be diluted if we do it for money, basically. But the real artistic part of that is the moment in which we do take on board the challenge of work with something that maybe it's not our best take. You know, it's all about evolution. We're also talking about careers that it's a bit like athletes, it's 5 to 10 years. The biggest challenge in living is in this industry as a maker is literally constantly renewing yourself. And this passes a lot through doing things that maybe we don't love at first approach. I'm going to display. So this is a typical example of our research book. We always give a very structured framework to students, and then what they put into their framework is absolutely their own creativity. We've been pushing mainly with the masters. We got this masters, all good one, yeah. We got this master in fashion styling, creative direction, and digital content. They really allow us to put a bit of a digital cap on it. So, for instance, this first sample is made with Polycam, very basic iPhone app, accessible to everybody, because 3D scanning on people is still quite. Either you do it with a proper rig, so very, very high-end technical things, or it's still a bit adventurous. So if we can see the video, please.
And if they ask you, say you feel, but don't
So this is yeah, thank you. I don't know how long it is. This is, for instance, this is very simple to make. It's like the content itself is some sort of promo clip for some brand that was exposing, was at a runway here at Graduate Fashion Week last year. And of course, you just need an iPhone and a scanner and a bit of the creativity. The cool side of this one, there's always, pretty much in my opinion, two ways to display fashion. So we can address the narrative from a strictly fashion perspective. And there's the challenge is confronting ourselves with 150 years of super high-end aesthetic, typical thing in which everyone must be super skilled. So from photography to DOP to makeup to thing. And there it's impossible to, if one of the chain of production fails, the whole outcome fail. But there is a way to use fashion as a lens through which interpret society and depicting ideas like this. It's very dirty, but very functional. Brand loved it and they used it a lot. Then I think second one is a bit of an animation experiment created with a mix of Blender and After Effects. Of course, the intertwining between open source 3D software, specifically Blender, and a lot of very cheap AI tools, this moment in which technology really steps in on a very shallow way. There's people that say, yeah, you can do with $50 what would have costed $1 million. It's not exactly like that. But on a side, there is a good 30 to 40% production savings, always keeping the professional solidly covered. And on the other, the potential of creativity on the single director or the single screenwriter or any single professional is much higher than before. So I can do by myself at my own desk things that required a 10-people team before, no? This, for instance, is a lot of sense of humor. I don't know how many of you guys know London.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Can you help me? Someone stole my phone outside.
No, I can't help unless you have a 500 pounds membership.
Okay. I think we can stop it. Thank you. So for instance, in this case, we don't give, now the third one is an industry project. So we have a brand like the one that my colleagues showed, no? In reality, all the creativity, again, the concept, the development, we teach students the methodology and we support them in outsourcing the team, networking, following the whole process from pre-production to editing and post-production and clients management and MD. Eventually we give them keywords. For instance, there's every year there's a social project, but of course the engagement within a social project can be like very deep or very intense or also very light, as in this case. This is a different story because I think this is the Jordan Luca one. Yes, so this is an industry partner with a brand and it was a fashion campaign for, it was last December, so spring summer 25 campaign. During the runway, the two designers, Jordan Luca is a brand founded in London, and one designer is Italian and one British. They got married during the show, so that's where the relationship feel come from. And the brand in itself is quite radical in terms of communication. No? This is pure storytelling.
Perdón, ¿qué dijiste? Que pidió medidas para hacerlo.
Okay, I think we can stop it. Thank you very much. This is a bit long. And this, that seems quite a consistent production. In reality, is shot in our own studio here at campus and with a very simple set design. The cubicle was built. So I think the good side of this kind of talk is also to promote a way of working, which is very, very easy, it's not particularly complex. I think the key for everything is the interdisciplinary approach. There's some of us that wake up in the morning and think of fashion and go to sleep and think of fashion. That's not the only way to work in the fashion industry. I think it's an industry that is open to, I have students, most of all at masters, coming from every sort of backgrounds, and often the people that come from very, very different backgrounds are the ones that come out with the most beautiful ideas, because we can make connections. I think I can pass you back the word, Francesco.
Yeah, Nicola, I have a couple of questions for you, if I may.
Yes, please.
The first one is also the video that you show were pretty much different from each other, and you were talking at the beginning of your speech about narrative. So how do you suggest, if you do so, whether, let's say, a project should follow, let's say, a narrative format or be more experimental on the visual, let's say, approach?
So I would say that we don't have a rule, because then it really depends by the students. That the students that need more guided, so that case, suggesting an horizontal narrative is always a good solution. There's the student that bursts with creativity by themselves, so it's just methodology, unlocking, spread the wings and fly. I mean, my job is not really saying what's wrong or right. It's just putting people in condition to express their own ideas in a moment in which, for the first time, young people are way more conservative than in the past. So, for instance, we produce material that can be considered maybe quite radical sometimes, but we do push students to do it, because visual culture develop actually through provocation, sense of humor, pushing the borders of imagination towards the end of the comfort zone. Of course, we don't do it necessarily for brands. There's a bit of sexiness in Giordaluca, but it's embedded in the ethos of the brand. This year, we're working with Erdem. It's completely different ballgame. Everything's going to be very romantic and classic and different take. In general, we stress a lot students on understanding the value of horizontal narrative with the beginning and the end. And even if the editing is Soviet montage, I don't know, random images put together, there's always a structure behind that the viewer might not see, but we do see when we're viewing the project.
Yes.
I don't know if
thank
I
you.
replied.
No, you did reply, and well, actually, it's also linked, especially from the experimental point of view that you just mentioned. The second question that would be, in this context, and this is actually also linked to your specialization. So in this context, like the use of technologies in the creative project, let's say so, of fashion films, how does the idea of future come into play? Because we saw like a lot of different video with, different visions, and sometimes, well, often I would say, when new technologies comes in, then the representation of the future seems to be very far from what it exactly turned out to be. So what would be your take on that?
I think it's a very good question, because it's something we're actively working. I think our representation of the future comes from two main factors. First of all, science fiction, and 150 years of diffuse science fiction pop culture. Second, if we look at us, we're not really designed as species to evolve. It's literally the last 30 years of evolution of cognitive neurosciences that help us to understand better how our brain works when approaching creativity. So we tend to be worried about the future. Plus, there is a bit of big tech narrative that self-create these things that our car are gonna fly and drive and all these things. Now, reality is the future is already here. We started this conversation 30 seconds ago and it's already passed. But whenever we do this conversation, is often now. Is always now, even if we do it in 20 years. So I was a bit sick to see future robots, glitch, starships, which is very much embedded also on 3D, that kind of thing. We're trying to literally incorporate it in an absolute normal way. Imagine like a positive Black Mirror in which the future could be something happening in the next 20 minutes that's highly disruptive. We're just going to continue to live and create as we did, but there has been something massively disruptive. So maybe I might break through the screen and appear in the room. No? I think this helps to normalize what we perceive as impossible. And normalizing what is impossible in terms of creativity opens a lot of new possibilities to imagination, of course. No? It's not so immediate with students, but as soon as they get it, you got an entire new set of ideas that are so much more interesting than seeing a Starship in McQueen, which is mainly about craft, whilst something that as a narrative, but it's immediately relatable, can be craft and storytelling. Also, it's impossible to do good stuff with technology if you don't know how to do very good stuff on a real set. This is an aspect that many people that don't have experience tend to sort of ignore, no? It's literally about, for instance, the understanding of AI, there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of people thinking, okay, this is a shortcut, this is too easy. Actually, it's so much more complex to work with AI than shooting a real set many times. But the potential is unlimited with respect to what you can do on a real set.
Definitely.
No?
I think it's important to understand that technology doesn't exclude crafts, but it's actually a tool actually to enhance the creativity.
Sí,
okay,
definitely.
thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Nicola.
much,
and I think that then I will pass back the word to Mr. Francesco.
Thank you, Nicola and Jacopo and Damiano for animating this conversation. For my side, I would like just to be more maybe academic in that sense, so also to explain what are the words we use behind. So, for instance, what does it mean editorial? What does it mean advertorial? What does it mean commercial? And then I will show you a couple of examples, and I will conclude to talking about technology with a video, a film that is made totally, completely by AI. No, by a student using AI. I'm sorry. A fashion editorial is a film that goes in a magazine, so it goes in only one media generally, and as a fashion related to mix and match from different brands. So it's like a photo shooting, a photo editorial. But when the internet era came up and the social media exploded, the fashion film actually started to exist, because in the past, the fashion film was not a thing. Here I want to show you a case of 2019 from a student from Paris, when I was in Paris as well. And the challenge here, it was extreme essentialism and extreme minimalism. So this type of movie always are published in magazines, and the exercise of doing an editorial is to express your full creativity, even if there is a framework, as Nicola was saying. You have to disclose 5, 4, 6 different looks. You have to tell a story. You have to create an atmosphere. The other one is another interesting type of movie that we have is the music video. So there is the music video industry, and fashion image maker are always called to try to fashionize the movie and to create a visual storytelling to illustrate a song from a band. In this case, is Placebo.
C'est le malaise du moment, l'épidémie qui s'étend, la fête est finie, on descend, les pensées qui glacent la raison, paupières baissées, visage gris, surgissent les fantômes de notre lit, on ouvre le loquet de la grille, du tout dit qu'on appelle maison. Protect me from what I want, protect me from what I want, protect me from what I want, protect me, protect me. Protège-moi, 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 protège-moi. Protège-moi.
And these two introductory, very artistic and romantic story-told film are actually the key to whenever it happens to have a commercial opportunity. In the end, or somehow, the reason why fashion film are so sophisticated in terms of image making is because you need to bring the brand forward. In this case, was an interesting case study. We are in China here, close to Shanghai, and there is a group of students, and there is a brand, a Chinese brand called Arcadia, maybe not very famous, but could be a merchandising brand. And when you are young graduated, you will mainly start also to work with this independent brand. In this case, we have the opportunity to talk, to pitch this project to this brand and to create a strong narrative. While the brand was mainly just making snapshot of product. The key and the briefing is very simple. This collection and this material, this textile is completely waterproof. So something very basic if we think about, but that's where the narrative, the storytelling goes to push the brand in a further things about what Jacopo was saying. The correct term is also the phantasmagoria, the atmosphere of a brand. And here the student could have also the opportunity to be sponsored also financially by the brand and to do a big production that was also shot in a very interesting, iconic landmark of China. I leave always the ending credits because actually in fashion, first of all, crediting is important. For fashion editorial, you need to credit all the brands, but also to show you how many people were involved in this production. And actually the good things, speaking about authorship, is important that a group teamwork is coordinated. Last case I was promising, yeah, this is an individual work by a student from the Master of Milano of Fashion Styling and Creative Direction. Okay, she used AI, but I need to deconstruct AI here because she used at least 12 different tools with also capturing images, scanning, post-production. So it was not just a simple prompt on a tool. It was a really deep work to create this film. And the results here is because AI doesn't make the life easy. AI gives you more opportunity to still be a complex and a high-end artist to create this type of fashion film, which also will contain these little AI mistakes that I find also interesting. And actually, the crediting is perfect. All the images, still and then move, are crafted, digitally crafted using AI. And by this, I want to just give a couple of words about authorship on the appendix. And not we have been a little bit over time, but not too much. So first of all, if we embrace AI in a very easy way, we're going to do what many people can do. What we try to push our students is to drive technology to excellence. And excellence means also authorship. This is a little diagram here. It's a bit technical, but I can send it also to you. It can be shared. So basically, the best model to use AI for image making is to first start not from a prompt text, but start from an original image that you choose, create, sketch. So you are owner of the original source. Then you can train with the style and inspiration of your image production, the model of AI. So again, all the source is much more original and yours. And then you can express the output that you want. In this case, the authorship is pretty high. And also the aesthetic finally cannot look exactly the same of the many others, because the problem of AI aesthetic that is very conformistic and it all looks like all the same, more or less. Just to give you a little bit historical overview, that from 1911 until 2025, fashion designer, fashion brands choose authors as image maker of the campaign. From Jürgen Teller to Phoebe Philo, from Tyrone Lebon, Daniel Lee, David Simpson, Prada, or Man Ray with Schiaparelli, till the last case of today, where even a non-fashion photographer, a pure artist, a fashion artist like Alex Sott, shoot the campaign of Louis Vuitton, because it's not just the image delivered and published in the campaign, but even in the press release that is given to the media, when they talk about the campaign, they always say Louis Vuitton by Alex Sott. So we wish to all of you one day to be the by next to be so famous and make us a lot of proud to be artist, photographer, and sign a campaign of luxury. But also in this other process, there is a long chain of production. There are 10, 20, 15, 10, 20, 50, 60 people that work on production in different aspects that are styling, photography, art direction, production, and image making, post-production, animation. But they all have one common things: the sense of fashion aesthetic, which is something that you can only learn in a fashion school, even if, of course, audiovisual school are more oriented into cinematography or animation for general industry or for cinema. The specific language of fashion and fashion film is contained in this framework that, as we are saying today, is quite different from the framework of commercial communication of other field. That's pretty much it for today, and I leave the word to Damiano and also to all the question. I thank all of you to participate. I see you are a lot, and I hope that we have delivered enough insight and do you enjoy this talk?
Yeah, thanks, Francesco, Jacopo, Nicola. Well, you said it right, Francesco. There are like many people attending, like over 120, and I don't think it has been difficult for them to stay at the end because I found the session very inspiring myself. Not only by learning a lot, but like really being inspired by many projects that I saw. I also had a couple of questions for you, but I see that in the chat box, we already have quite a few questions from the attendees, so I would leave the floor to them. And I will read the question from the first one.
Yeah, Damiano, we are reading the questions in the Google Sheet. Do you have the...
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean
good.
the Google Sheet, don't worry.
Good.
They are translated into English. So I will read the first
you.
question, then I will leave to the speakers the answer. So with the first one would be, what job opportunities are there in Italy or Europe for this kind of creative direction? And what do students usually work on after their graduation?
I'm gonna answer that.
Jacopo, go ahead.
I'm gonna answer that. So looking also at the students coming out of Paris, we change actually the name of this course, this BA, Communication and Image. So now there is this updated name and title, exactly to reflect what the students are doing after school, and is really about the image development, especially in brands. You see, now in brands you have in-house or out-house. In-house brands like Dior, like Louis Vuitton, etc., have like an image development department. There is the business and marketing. There is the designer, and there is this department that take care of campaigns, e-commerce, the video department, the photo shooting department, and for instance, students are working in this department. Then there are the not in-house, but the production houses, the biggest one, Villa Eugénie, Modern Image, a lot. They are in Europe, in Paris, London, Milan, etc. So those are not inside a brand, but are the one that work with brand for all the fashion movies and editorial you can see, without forgetting the fashion shows that are also filmed, are also prepared, and also delivered also on social media and other things. So this image department, the keyword is image and also communication, because it's the part about the communication in those brands relatively to the fashion movies.
Thanks, thank you. I just wanted to say, you mentioned, Jacopo, now, not even mentioned, but underlined fashion image and communication. And there is actually something that probably it has not been said, but the work that Francesco and all the team did with this area of study at Istituto Marangoni has been a change of paradigm shifting from the more traditional or classical fashion style to image and communication that goes through a lot of tools that professionals use in the fashion industry, and the set of opportunities that Jacopo just highlighted are embedded in the set of opportunities that students who come out of this program, fashion image communication, can access to. Nicola wanted to say something.
Damiano, do you allow me just, sorry, to show a very simple image that
Please.
Jacopo prepared for once, just very,
Please.
because we need to be also essential. Like, it's just a case, just to read all the pool of names and lead also the brand and the title of job, which is not anymore only stylist, not anymore only filmmaker. It's from e-commerce, image development, editorial development, for magazines, for brand. These are real people of just the last batch of 2 years ago, working in real brands. Sometimes, as Jacopo knows, but also like Nicola, even during their studies, no? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, exactly. And actually, now the board is much, much bigger. During the studies happened to a person that is not here. So it's Fabio, was working with the campaign of Sandro was added during the third year. But if you look, for instance, at the beginning now, in the list about people at Dior, there is also Nina and there is also Charlotte. So people that finish in 2024 and 2025 in the image department. And actually Bianca is the one that is working with the video campaign of Dior. Nina in the photo campaign, and Charlotte in the post-production of both. So there you go, it's there. The image, the communication, and the production part, yeah.
Yeah, and I also see, sorry, Nicola, just want to say that with this new narrative of the graduation title is broader, but also allow us to place our student, because it's our objective to have them in the industry, first of all, to have them pushed, to keep being touched, even since years. There are a lot of departments that needs this mind, this creative minds that can make something happen. Because then the movie is an exercise. But as Jacopo was saying, there's the fashion show, there is the event. Your brain is trained for 3-4 years, how much you study, to think about every detail to make something look good, to be very simple. Nicola, sorry, you were saying something as well.
No, I wanted to add something that might sound hopefully motivational, not or not, because if we look at employability, we got super high employability data. And as we were saying, that there's never been, after the 80s, the 90s, such a positive moment for someone that wants to work in creativity. At the same time, I'd like to quote Diana Brilland, so that there's only one kind of good life, which is the one that you want and you take it yourself. It's kind of creativity that you need to have on your back end the sacred fire. It's not like pharmacy that you study pharmacy and you go to the pharmacy in the corner, no? It's so various, the opportunity that you can have, and we could spend hours in showing you employability data. But personally, I don't think that's the point. The real question is, what does an applicant want to do in the media industry, which is fantastic at the moment. I mean, 10 years ago, there was 1/3 of the opportunities that there are now, and we still, I think, had a very high employability, no? Because there are many things that come here that you expect us.
And actually, if I can say, and we three can say, because we have been working in this industry, well, the funny thing is to have the opportunity to work for many brands, not just one, for a lot of brands, for a lot of cases, because to have these skills to create this project for one day a sportswear brand, one day a luxury brand, one day independent, one day big budget, one day low budget. But even low budget projects are fun sometimes. But the point is, to have a variety of opportunity to create the storytelling for fashion brands. And also is an interesting career where you can balance either full-time jobs or entrepreneurship. and which is and is very dynamic. And for what you can see every day on TikTok, Instagram, magazine, or other things, you see that there is no end of image production today. And again, don't be scared of AI because luxury brand needs celebrity for real, needs storytelling that has real people. And this brand, this particular field will embrace AI, and this is my wish, but this is our philosophy, as an empowerment tool. When you will see this cheap animation of AI, these are mass market fast fashion brand, not even branded, that they, in my opinion, they will not last long.
And you don't need to study for that.
And you don't
Just
need to
download
study.
an app and
To do
press
this
the
type
buttons.
of high-level campaign, you need to study and then to practice a lot.
Talking about opportunities, something already has been said. There is a very specific question. Is creating 3D backgrounds and 3D modeling required in the fashion industry? I would say yes, very much. And also in two different levels, especially when it comes to 3D modeling that can be used, of course, for the prototyping. Who wants to answer that?
Jacopo, maybe you have a case on... Jacopo and Nicola, they have two different philosophy on 3D, and I have a third one, so we can three reply.
Super briefly, is not required in the sense that you cannot work if you cannot do 3D. This is something that you do more. This is like something that is more experimental in technology for fashion, also for visual communication and image making. Of course, it's not that without this skill you cannot enter the fashion world. But if you have it, of course, it's a skill that you can use more. Just an example, the last students that went to work to Dior for visual merchandising, she was taken because she could visualize the boutique of Dior through 3D. So it's something that will help you, okay? But if you say, do I have to do it or not? I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's okay.
And Nicola?
Also, if we look at the future, even out of fashion, I mean, I think the entire media industry, it's worth around 2.5 trillion, something like that. And it's led by gaming, not by fashion. Amongst all the technologies that we've been introduced in the last 10 years, the only one that might have a real impact and application in the next 10, 15 years on the entire mankind is augmented reality. That's 3D, that's CGI. So it's a gold mine on that aspect, in my opinion, not necessarily on fashion. For sure, on fashion, there are a lot of opportunities, but if I would start from scratch and I would be a designer, a developer, I would probably work with 3D. I would teach 3D to my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion, sorry, Damiano, is absolutely a skill required, but whether you want to do a film with a camera, with an iPhone, in 3D, in animation, in sketching, whatever you want, what we teach for everyone, it is the most important things, is the production side, the preparation, the famous time that I was talking about. You have details of what is happening in the story, you have the storyline, you have thought to all the aspects. Then if the student is skilled or have a previous background, better, but unless we create teamwork, so we support, we provide, the point is that they have to be able to produce the film. And then to realize it, technology will always help, of course. And but if the technology is giving easy way to face some challenge, what we propose is to raise up the challenge again to make even much better. We see the cinematographic industry. Special effects have changed the way of doing movies. But even today, there are some movies that are by choice, old school, without any effect. And sometimes even the audience appreciate this authenticity of image.
I jump a couple of questions because I think it's in line with what you're saying, Francesco. Then I go back to the others. So there is a question which is, in the future of fashion cinema movies, beyond the screen and to immersive or virtual experience. So in this area of complexity and immersive visualization, what should never be lost in that transition? So what is probably the values or the thing that should be always there, regardless of the technological impact?
Ideas and storytelling.
Sorry, can I reply on this? Because it's my mantra. Human being, first of all, and not just as creator, but models, actors, actress, celebrities, musician, people that you see there. We can also create fictional character in 3D but the act of performance for me must be irreplaceable, because unless, and I tell you, the final outcome will be much worse than if you don't have an actor, a model, a performer, a dancer in front of you. Even when we, for instance, speaking about animation, for me, a way to save the animation industry is to at least still have the human voice behind the character, because it changes everything. It changes everything. So for me, you shoot a campaign and you must have a physical model. Period. Also, there are also commercial purposes, and I've been watching some research on data where if we have the perception as a consumer that the model I see is fake, is not well done, or even over retouched, the consumers generally reject the product and reject the campaign, especially young generation.
Clear. Thanks. Going back to, I think Riccardo's question is, what are the main steps of storytelling when creating a script? Difficult, this one.
Do we
or
have
just
another
long answer? Try to make it synthetic.
In the specific case of non-linear narrative, there is not. Okay, you can do this experiment like a cadaver ski. 10 people, they write a phrase, they don't know what they're writing, put them together, it's a story. Whatever you have, create a movie. You will see it's amazing. So the storyline in this case is not to bring you to a logic point to another. In the case of fashion film, if you're writing a documentary or a narrative fiction or something that has a logic, of course, there are technique, but for them, there is other major and also other 2-3 hours. So at least more.
Probably we will have the chance.
I don't know. Jacopo is the expert
of
Jacopo is the expert of writing. Maybe he can give a much more insightful.
You know what?
Please.
Except for the writing, which is one of the main part of the divinity with the concept. You see, with storytelling for movies, you have like 4 or 5 things that are so important, and a slight change can modify all the project. So for instance, of course, you start with a mise en scène, so you have a location, a setting, you have the characterization, styling, all this stuff, also the props, and then the cinematography, the way you're gonna capture the mise en scène and the performance of the actor. Francesco just said that, no? You need to shoot with people because these people will change completely what you have. There is this performance, and finally there is also the editing. So you put all this stuff together, and you will see that even a slight change in that will change the complete flavor of this. So making a balance of that is difficult. This is actually why at the same time at the core you need to have a strong writing and a strong concept that you can defend through all these passages. This is what actually make useful to have, in my opinion, to have a team working and then something that is more individual.
Okay, thanks. There's a question by Ingrid. I think that, Jacopo, you already partially answered that during your speech. But the question goes like, what is the biggest challenge when trying to communicate brands' values through a cinematic production?
The big challenge is not to mess things up and misunderstand what you're doing. And you're right. I kind of addressed already this question before when I was saying that you need to really go visual. But also not just being visual and be aware of what is the brand heritage, a brand identity, but also to do it in 2025, try to do it in contemporary, the contemporary world. So also not just being able to understand what was the past, but also the contemporary visual landscape you were working with, contemplating politics, contemplating anything that goes on with our social life, because it's very, very easy to make a very slight mistake that then later when it's out, you cannot defend anymore.
Okay, understandable. Talking about like different disciplines that are involved in the filmmaking in the fashion industry. Zaira asks, in fashion film, so many disciplines come together: direction, styling, photography, design. Who becomes the true author when every frame is co-created?
Well, okay, there are rules. Yeah, so there are rules, also laws. In terms of authorship and in terms of copyright, the filmmaker / the photographer are the final authors of the intellectual property of I made this film. Then the brand that finance and produce the movie is the owner of the commercial use. All the others, like in cinema, when there is a director, they have they've credited, and they are co-authors, and they must be credited. That's why there are closing titles, opening titles, and cinema and fashion film. They are quite, especially fashion editorial. They are quite recognizing these all contributors. Is a co-creation, but it's like in architecture also. There is one who sign up and is responsible. And generally is the filmmaker, the director, or the photographer director for still images. In terms of, in my opinion, or in publishing houses or in magazine, fashion editor / stylist co-signs the editorial with the photographer, like they were writers, like they were authors. In fashion film, there is not really a room for screenwriters, because what we mentioned before is not really a story where it's not really a complex plot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Francesco. Eileen is asking something which is related to her, let's say, personal experience. I'm majoring in communication and digital media, but I'd love to build a career in fashion. How do you think audiovisual projects impact the fashion industry in terms of storytelling and expressing brands' vision? I think very much, but I will go ahead with the question and leave to the panelists. And what do you look for in a communicator or filmmaker when developing a project? So the first part of the question is, how do you think audiovisual projects impact the fashion industry? And then what do you look for in a communicator or filmmaking when developing the project?
I can say something quick, then maybe Jacopo or Nicola can reply. Just to let you know, in terms of audiovisual, even fashion shows have become films today. So what was a catwalk where you go see and you see, the great majority of people see the catwalk through a camera. So audiovisual is largely impactful today, without any doubt. Actually, when I work with the other director of education in the show, they manage the catwalk and I manage the film of the catwalk. And these two teams, they are coordinated, but they have different purposes. So just to give you an example, then if there is no an image, you don't see the garment to be over. And some garments, some designer, they became what they are also because of their photographer or the image maker. So it's pretty impactful. The second part of the question I don't remember, but I leave Nicola or Jacopo.
Yeah, I can repeat that. It's what do you look for in a communicator or filmmaker when developing a project?
Well, I do think Francesco explained it quite well. I would add the capability to adapt our own ideas and creativity to the one of an external commission. But on that, I think there is a lot of attention on how could I work whilst in developing a portfolio, whether it be 2D, 3D, video, whatever. That should not be the priority, because at the moment in which we do develop our own style, then we're capable to adapt it and apply it to everyone, no? It really depends. There's people that have a very boring aesthetic, so they are basically destined to chase clients, the clients of the situation that can match their aesthetic. But I rarely see pure talents that have difficulties in working with clients. So it's not. I don't think it's really what the market look for. Hard skills. If I speak with my alumni, the one that got successful first jobs. They really say hard skills. So knowledge of softwares, knowledge of tools, things that people of my generation don't want to do. They want to pay someone younger and fresher, no? But besides that is something that we can all learn. It's literally, my recommendation is focus on developing your own style. There's also a big misunderstanding because it's a moment in which art market is very similar to commercial one, but we do think, okay, if I'm an artist, I'm condemned to live as a miserable individual at the verge of society. Actually, same exact dynamic, different output. Instead of going to that kind of producer, you go to that kind of curator, no? So there's space for everyone. I wouldn't say that the market requires us to be something, most of all in a city like London.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. Very clear. The next question is from Zaira, which is very active. Thanks for that. And it's interesting and also linked somehow to what we discussed previously with different touch. So fashion has always reflected identity. Do you think the next step for fashion film is no longer to represent reality, but to invent it? It's actually also kind of
that's yours. That's yours.
So, do you think that the next step for fashion film is not to represent reality, but to invent reality?
In my opinion, it has already been like that.
No, it was always no, but I mean, when you represent reality, you need to invent it. So what can you do? You cannot represent, imagine that, representing reality. You take like a camera, already you are framing and choosing a piece of word. And then we say that in fashion, there is nothing that is natural. Everything is staged. There is no fashion photography, video, movie, show design that is founded. It's not street photography. Street photography, if it's staged, is not street photography. Street photography, you go there out in the street, something makes sense, you capture that. In fashion, you need to build everything, the mise en scène. Someone call it the fashion dream, someone call it the fashion edit or whatever, but still, there is nothing representative in that case when you capture something. Then if you mean like interpreting reality, well, once again, you need to reinvent it. So you need to build that. So there is nothing you're gonna find.
What is reality from a creator's perspective?
Yeah.
And probably we can close with that. Okay, thanks. Interesting questions, interesting answers. Some of them, as the last one, it's kept open because probably there is no one answer, or basically the same answer can be perceived different from different people. So I think that this is it for today's session. I don't see any other question, just the last opportunity you have. If you have like something to ask, you can do that, or until not until the next session. If there are no questions, I would like to thank you all, people that attended this webinar, very many, very engaged, and very many until the end. So you found that engaging and interesting. I would like to thank, well, Veronica and all the team of Encuentro Creativo for the opportunity that they gave to Istituto Marangoni to be here and speak with you. And of course, I would like to thank Jacopo, Nicola, Francesco, and of course, Gabriela, our area manager for Latin America. Is there any one in the panel that wants to say something, or we close it as it is?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you all. Thank you, Damiano, Francesco, Nicola, Jacopo. Thank you for being here. Thank you also for
we
session.
lost you, Gabriela.
Very valuable for.
No, you came
there?
back. You came back. No,
okay.
You came back. Yeah.
We hope it has been valuable in bringing Mexican students and the general public closer to these new concepts and perspectives, of course, with Istituto Marangoni. On behalf of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, I would like to express my gratitude for your presence today. I will also like to extend my thanks to all of the brands supporting this Encuentro Creativo, including Essilor Luxottica, Lavazza, Fiat, among others. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Damiano, and everyone. Have a nice rest of the day in Mexico. Have a nice afternoon in Italy. I know that it's late, so thank you again for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.